Could we settle? Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalat wassalam rasulillah wa ba'd. So now we go into, as we had mentioned before, that what was scheduled to be done at this particular point was the lesson Aqidah. Then after the last session, supposed to have been al-liqa al-maftur, the question and answer session. But as I mentioned before, it was a slight change that we have made. So now we'll do the actual question and answers, and then later after this at 7 or at 8 o'clock we'll do the Aqidah session with Sheikh Saalih al-Suhatmee. So now we'll take the questions and the answer will be given. But we ask regarding the questions, one, that they're concise and precise. I don't want stories. So make sure your question is on point. Now, so some question can be taken on the floor without mind, and also some can be written as you desire. What's it? The paper. Here's the paper. They give them out. Pass them out. So, how many questions?
I can give it out. This one.
Okay, we start the question and answer session. So the first question we have is written ما معنى قول إمام أحمد ثلاثة ليس له سند وذكر منهم التفسير. So the question is Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, what is meant by the statement of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah by stating that there is no sanad that can be mentioned, or certainly have no sanad except of it at-tafsir, without any sanad.
بسم الله الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك وأنعم على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، مقولة الإمام أحمد هذه يقول ثلاثة ليس لها أصل وذكر منها السياق وذكر منها التفسير. ومراد الإمام أحمد رحمه الله أن هذه الأشياء، هذه الثلاثة، كثير مما يروى منها ليس له أصل، وليس مراده أنه ليس هناك تفسير صحيح أو ليس هناك شيء من السيرة صحيح، لكن الغالب الذي يغلب عليها هو ضعف الأسانيد. ولهذا السيرة تفسير لو تتبعنا أو لم نقبل إلا الرواية الصحيحة بمفردها لترك كثير من السيرة. لكن العلماء ينظرون إما بتعدد الطرق، إما بالمتابعات، بل إن بعض التفسير يقول العلماء من حيث الإسناد هو ضعيف، لكن من حيث المعنى حقيقي صحيح. ولهذا يذكر الأئمة بتفسير مقاتل، يقول قال مقاتل معروف حاله، لكن لأن قوله هذا صحيح من حيث المعنى، لكن السنة لا بد أن تثبت بالسند الصحيح عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. هذا تقريبا معنى قول ثلاثة ليس لها أصل، يعني أنها ما هي ليست مثل السنة والأحاديث فيها صحيحة واعتنى العلماء فيها وضبطوها. ولهذا قال بعض أهل العلم أن أسانيد التفسير والسير يتساهل فيها نوعا ما، يتساهل فيها يعني وفيما ورد فيها والله أعلم.
With regards to the answer, then the Sheikh, Hafidhullah, he mentioned that what's meant by the statement of Imam Ahmed that lots of the hadith that's mentioned in tafsir and seerah that they don't have a basis, what's meant is that there's many ahadith that are mentioned in the books of tafsir and seerah that are weak. That's what's meant by that. Not that there aren't any authentic ahadith that are related to tafsir or seerah, but just that a lot of the hadith that are mentioned are weak. The majority of them are weak. Which is why the scholars, they say when it comes to tafsir and seerah, if we was only to accept the ahadith, they're talking about the isnad, from the aspect of the isnad, we was only to accept the ahadith which are authentic, then we'd leave a lot of seerah and we'd leave a lot of the tafsir. So the ulama, what do? They look with regards to these ahadith which are da'if, the number of chains of transmission that came. They look at also for the meaning. So you might find the statement from the scholars with regards to seerah and tafsir. They say from the isnad it's weak, but the meaning of the hadith is authentic, it's valid. So they utilize that hadith. That's one example. So in conclusion, there's a difference when it comes to looking at the hadith that are used in tafsir and seerah compared to the hadith which are in the sunan, the books of hadith. The books of hadith in the sunan, then you have to look at the isnad as well as the meaning. So the isnad has to meet the conditions of hadith which are sahih. So a lot of the scholars, when it comes to tafsir, when it comes to seerah, they look at the hadith in there, they say yatasahulun fi, i.e. they're not as strict as when they're looking at the hadith in the books of sunan.
So the second question is, some of our masal. So as-su'al is, the question is the second adhan of Jum'ah, Yawm al-Jum'ah, that was done by Uthman radiallahu anhu, a bid'ah or sunnah?
الأذان الثاني يوم الجمعة سنة، لأن عثمان رضي الله عنه ممن قال فيهم النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين من بعدي عضوا عليها بالنواجذ، فهو من الخلفاء الراشدين وسنته سنة، وخاصة أن فعله هذا ليس فيه معارضة لسنة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. وهو ذكر العلة حتى ينتبه الناس لأجل أن يبادروا إلى الصلاة، وهذا أمر معلوم. وقد بين هذا شيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية رحمه الله، وبين أن فعل عثمان هذا سنة لأنه فعل هذا على مسمع ومرأى ومشهد من الصحابة رضي الله عنهم، ولم ينكر عليه أحد، ثم هو خليفة الراشد ممن يستن بسنته.
The question regards to the second adhan, the Sheikh Abdullah, he answered, he said that the second adhan which Uthman initiated is sunnah, and that's based upon the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, hold tight to my sunnah and the sunnah of the Khulafa al-Rashideen, the rightly guided Khulafa, and Uthman ibn Affan is one of them. And then he also, the Sheikh Hafidhullah, he mentioned, especially considering and taking into account that Uthman, he mentioned the illah or the reason for the second adhan, and that is so that people, they prepare to make their way to Jummah for the Salah. He gives them that time. Also as well, the Sheikh Abdullah, he said that Ibn Taymiyyah, he clarified in his works that what Uthman ibn Affan did was in fact sunnah, especially taking into consideration that he did it in the presence of all of the other Sahaba. They were all present, they all knew of it, and none of them made inkar or said or opposed him in the action that he did, and he was a Khalifa Rashida. So all of this points to the fact that it's something which is considered sunnah, or something which is considered a bid'ah.
So the question is, ما حكم مظاهرات سلمية في الغرب? What's the ruling pertaining to demonstrations in the West?
لا تجوز المظاهرات السلمية وغير السلمية، لا في الشرق ولا في الغرب. ليست من هدي الإسلام. هدي الإسلام أنه إذا رؤي منكر من ولي الأمر يناصح فيما بينه وبينه، فإن استجاب وإلا فقد أدى الذي عليه. كما في الحديث الصحيح قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: من رأى من إمامه ما يكره فليأخذ بيده وليخلو به ولينصحه، فإن استجاب وإلا قد أدى الذي عليه. هذا منهج الإسلام، ما في مظاهرات لا سلمية ولا شرية، لا في الشرق ولا في الغرب ولا في الجنوب ولا في الشرق. نعم.
The Sheikh, he answered by saying that it's impermissible and it's not allowed to do protests, whether they're peaceful protests or non-peaceful protests. All of them are impermissible, whether you're in the West or whether you're in the East, it's impermissible. This is not from the guidance and the guidelines of Islam. What Islam says, if a person wants to give advice to those that are in authority, that they advise them privately, one-to-one. And if they take the advice and they listen, then good. If not, then you perform what's an obligation upon you, and there's nothing else on you to do. He said that, and then he mentioned the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, whoever sees from the leader, the person in authority, a munkar, then let him take him by his hand and advise him. If he responds, then good. If not, then he performs what's upon you. So the Sheikh, he said that in Islam, there's no such thing as peaceful protests, whether you're in the East or whether you're in the West.
So the question is it permissible to sit with an innovator? And I guess they're right, to study. Can we praise them for anything? So the question is, هل يجوز لنا أن يجلس مع أهل البدع في تلقي العلم، وهل يجوز لنا أن نمدح أهل البدع في أي شيء؟
لا يجوز تلقي العلم على أهل البدع، مع أن هذه المسألة فيها تفصيل، ما هي البدعة التي عنده، لكن لا تجلس على أهل البدع لتتلقى العلم على أيديهم، لأنهم يدسون السم بالعسل، يظهر لك وجها حسنا ثم يعلمك أشياء أنت لا تعرفها. لو كنت عالما تعرف كل مخالفة ما احتاج أن تقرأ عنده، لكن الذي سيجلس عنده ويتعلم عليه معناه أنه جاهل، فكيف تعرف أن ما يقوله حق أو باطل؟ وأنا ذكرت يا أخوان في الكلمة في المحاضرة السابقة أن هذا الزمان قد يسر الله طلب العلم. أشرطة أهل السنة موجودة، مواقع أهل السنة موجودة، دروس أهل السنة موجودة، قد يكون أهون عليك من أنك تذهب إلى المسجد الذي فيه هذا الرجل الذي عليه المخالفة، وأنت في بيتك تستمع للشيخ ابن باز، الشيخ ابن عثيمين، الشيخ الألباني، الشيخ الفوزان وغيرهم من أهل العلم، فلا يذهب إليهم. أما مسألة الجزء الثاني، هل نمدح على البدع؟ لا، ما يجوز مدح على البدع، لأن مدحهم غش للمسلمين، ينخدع الناس بمدحك لهم فيتبعونه. لكن أنا أؤكد مرة أخرى، من هو المبتدع؟ أصلا الحكم على أن الرجل مبتدع وأن هذا الفعل بدعة، هذا ما يقوله أي إنسان، يقوله أهل العلم الراسخون. أما العجلة التي تحدث بين الشباب الآن، فلان مبتدع فلان مبتدع، حتى ما يبقى أحد إلا وهو مبتدع، هذا لا، ما يجوز. لكن إذا تكلم أهل العلم الراسخين وبدعوا الرجل تبين أنه لم يرجع عن بدعته، نعم يقال هذا ولا يجوز مدحه بهذه الحال، والله أعلم.
The Sheikh, he said that it's not allowed to take knowledge from the people of innovation. And he said, obviously, this is with some detailed explanation as regards to what type of bid'ah he's on and who's the one that's made tabligh of him and all this other stuff that he mentions towards the end. And the reason he said that the ulama that they give is because they'll have honey and they'll add poison to it, and the person won't realise. They'll think he's drinking honey, but in reality he's being poisoned. They show something which is good, but in reality they're going to be misguided. And the reason why it's not allowed as well is because the person that's taking knowledge, the fact that he's taking knowledge from them means he's a jahil, he doesn't have the knowledge himself. Because if he had knowledge, he wouldn't be taking knowledge from them in the first place. So him being ignorant means he's unaware, he's unable to distinguish when, for example, the person's putting in his poison and mixing it with the honey, for example. He doesn't know when what he's saying is true and when what he's saying is batil and false. And he said, the Sheikh has mentioned that, like I mentioned previously, he said that the time we live in is a time where the means to seeking knowledge from the ulama has become easy. Their tapes are present, they have websites, you can watch them on YouTube. It's all easy for you to seek knowledge from the people, take knowledge from the people of knowledge. So there's no need, for example, he said mention the likes of Sheikh bin Baz and Sheikh al-Albani and Sheikh al-Jaasim and Sheikh, he mentioned some of the names. All their tapes, they're present, all their audios, their videos, their explanations, they're all present on YouTube and on internet sites, on their website. So there's no excuse and no reason for a person to not benefit from them and to leave his house and go sit with and take knowledge from a person of bid'ah. The second part of the question was that he said that it's not allowed also to speak well of and to praise the people of innovation. And he gave a couple of reasons. One of the reasons that he gave is that this is almost like a ghish, i.e. it's almost like you're deceiving and cheating the rest of the Muslims. How's that? That's because when a person hears you praising a person of bid'ah, it means that that person's good, so they might go and take from them and learn from them and become misguided as a result of you speaking well of that person. And then the Sheikh said there's an important point, which is, first of all, after all of this, the question is, who is it who's considered an innovator, and who's the person that gives the ruling that this person is actually an innovator? This is something that comes from the people of knowledge, not like today. For example, a lot of shabab, they're the ones that are deciding this person's an innovator, that person's an innovator. No, it has to come from the people of knowledge. So when that has come, the people of knowledge have said that this person's an innovator, then in that case, it's not permissible to take knowledge from that person.
And the question reads, some of our masajid do congregational dua after every salat. Is this okay and can be prayed behind Sufi imams? Okay, so the question is, في بعض المساجد عندهم الدعاء جماعية، هل هذا جائز أو صحيح؟ هذا صحيح. وكذلك هل يجوز الصلاة خلف إمام صوفي؟
لا يجوز الدعاء الجماعي، لا يجوز، لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: من أحدث في أمرنا هذا ما ليس منه فهو رد. نعم، النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دعا في الاستسقاء وأمن الصحابة، لكن ما دعا بعد كل فريضة، مع أنه صلى صلوات كثيرة. الاستسقاء صلىها مرة ومرتين ونقل لنا، لكن الصلوات الخمس، الجمعة، العيدان، ما نقل شيء. ونحن نقول هذا الدين طريقه النقل يا أخوان. وما آتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا. أنا أقول لا يجوز، بل هذا من البدع. الدعاء الجماعي هذا من البدع. أما مسألة إمامة الرجل الصوفي هذا فيه تفصيل. ما هي البدعة التي عنده؟ إن كانت بدعة مكفرة كدعاء الأموات، دعاء القبور وأصحاب القبور، والذبح لغير الله وشابه ذلك، هذا لا يجوز الصلاة وراءه، لأن بدعته مكفرة. وإذا كانت بدعته غير مكفرة، مثل تأويل الأشاعرة للصفات مثلا، وبعض المخالفات التي لا تصل إلى حد الكفر، فهذا تصح الصلاة وراءه. وأنا لا أدري هذا الإمام من أي الصنفين، والله أعلم.
The Sheikh he answered and said that with regards to the congregational supplication, then it's not permissible to do supplication in congregation. And he mentioned the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that whoever innovates something or brings something new in our affair, then it will be rejected. The Messenger of Allah, it's true, he said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in al-istisqa, i.e. seeking rain, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made dua, and the Sahaba behind him, they said that they said Ameen, Ameen after he was making dua. However, this occasion happened once or twice, and there's many occasions, i.e. that the Messenger of Allah prayed all of the salawat, the Eidain, the Salat al-Jum'ah. All these times the Messenger of Allah prayed, and it wasn't once mentioned, not once mentioned that he did or they did congregational supplication. They made dua in congregation together with everyone saying Ameen afterwards. And the reality, brothers, the Sheikh of said, is that this religion is based upon naql, i.e. transmission, i.e. we follow what has been authentically transmitted. And this is the command of Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Quran. Whatever the Messenger of Allah, the English translation meaning being, whatever the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gives you, then take it, and whatever he abstains or forbids you from, then abstain from it. As for the second part of the question, which is the permissibility of praying behind a Sufi, then it depends on what type of, he said there's some tafsir or some detailed answer. The bid'ah that the person has, is it a bid'ah or innovation which takes him outside the fold of Islam or not? Because some innovations, like for example, slaughtering for other than Allah, or seeking benefit from the dead, in that this dua of the amwat, these things take a person outside the fold of Islam. So if it's a bid'ah, an innovation which takes him outside the fold of Islam, then it's impermissible to pray behind them. However, if it's an innovation which doesn't take them outside the fold of Islam, like the ta'wil of the Ash'a'ira with the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or other than that, then your salat behind them is valid, in which case it's permissible to pray behind them. And then the Sheikh Abdullah, he said that he doesn't know which of the two this Imam that you're speaking about falls under.
So the next question is regarding the question right here. عندما أشعر بقسوة القلب ماذا أفعل? So the question asks concerning if I find with myself that I have become very what's the word? Harshness in my heart, what should I do?
إذا شعر الإنسان بالقسوة فعليه بذكر الله، عليه بذكر الله، وأعظمه قراءة القرآن. إذا وجدت قسوة في قلبك وجدت ضيقا في صدرك، وجدت خوفا، جاءتك مشكلة، كل شيء الجأ إلى الله بقراءة القرآن. ألا بذكر الله تطمئن القلوب؟ الجواب بلى. وأعظم ذكر الله القرآن. وكما قدمت في المحاضرة السابقة يا أخوان، ينبغي لكل مسلم أن يكون له ورد حزب من القرآن كل يوم. كل يوم تقرأ جزءا على الأقل، جزءا من القرآن. لا تقول هذا كثير يحتاج وقت. أنت خلقك الله لهذا، خلقك الله للعبادة. ثم كثرة قراءة القرآن تريح قلبك، تحبب الإيمان إليك، تذهب القسوة من قلبك. مع أيضا الإكثار من ذكر الله، التسبيح، التحميد، التسبيح، التهليل، التكبير. مع حضور مجالس العلم أو الجلوس مع أهل الصلاح. هذا باختصار. المهم عليك بالقرآن وأبشر بكل خير.
The Sheikh Al-Tuwayjiri answered, how does the person, if he finds his heart become hard, how does he soften his heart? He said the most important is to recite the Quran. To recite the Quran. He said that the first thing he mentioned, that if your heart becomes hard, or he said if you find, for example, your chest becomes restricted, if you find, for example, khawf, you find this type of fear or anxiety that you have, he said you need to make mention of Allah and remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the most greatest or the most significant mention of Allah that you can make is in the recitation of the book of Allah, the Quran. He says we turn back to Allah, we turn back to reciting and reading the Quran. And then he mentioned the speech of Allah, the English translation, which is is not in the dhikr of Allah, in the mention of Allah, and the remembrance of Allah. Is it not in that the hearts they find tranquility? And it's a question about which is only one answer, of course. So if a person, for example, wants to find tranquility and serenity in his heart and softness, then he has to recite and repeat and make mention of Allah, remember Allah through the recitation of the Quran. And then the Sheikh Abdullah, he said that I mentioned previously that it's essential for every single Muslim to read a portion of the Quran on a daily basis. That every single day there should be a portion of the Quran that a Muslim is reciting and reading. He said, a juz, for example. Don't say, I don't have time. Don't say, I'm too busy. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create you for except to worship Him? What are you too busy doing if you're not worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So he said that every single Muslim should have a portion of the Quran that he recites. He said, in addition to that, it's important to make a lot of dua, i.e. making tasbih, saying subhanallah, saying Allahu Akbar, alhamdulillah, la ilaha illallah, and do that a lot. In addition to that, to attend the gatherings of knowledge, and in addition to that, to sit with the people of taqwa, the people of piety and the righteous people. He said this is in summary. This is in summary. And again, he went back and said the most important of all of these is the constant and consistent recitation of the Book of Allah. No.
And the question of the person writes is concerned إذا شخص نظر لكن في حال حرف فيه النظر لا يزال قائم. So the question, English translation, it says that if a person made a nazar while he was in a state that was very emotional, is this something that is to be carried through?
أقول النذر إذا نذر الإنسان يجب عليه أن يفي بالنذر إذا نذر في نظره طاعة، لقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: من نذر أن يطيع الله فليطيعه، ومن نذر أن يعصي الله فلا يعصه، وكفارته كفارة يمين. كون من باب العاطفة ما يمنع، إلا إذا كان مكره إكراه لا إكراه فيه. إذا كان مكره الإكراه يأخذ حكم اليمين. أما مجرد أنه عاطفة، حب، مسرور جدا، يلزمه. قال: هل نحن مؤاخذون بما نقول؟ يقول معاذ: قال: ثكلتك أمك. وهل يكب الناس على مناخرهم إلا حصائد ألسنتهم؟ نعم، الإنسان مؤاخذ بما يقول، فيجب عليه أن يفي بهذا النذر إذا كان نذر طاعة، وإذا كان نذر معصية يكفر عنه كفارة يمين.
The answer is that it's an obligation and it's a must for a person to fulfill the oath that he makes. If a person makes a vow to do something, or makes an oath, then he has to fulfill it. If it's obedience to Allah, if it's disobedience to Allah, then he's not allowed to fulfill it and he has to do kafara or expiation. He said that as regards to because you were emotional or you were, besotted or you were overly excited, then it doesn't matter. The fact that you took the oath, you have to fulfill it. The only time that you're not obliged to fulfill the oath that you made or the vow that you made is in the case when you are forced to make it, i.e. you're under duress. It's not something that you want to do, but someone's forced you to do it. As for if you anything else, then it's as Mu'adh asking us about, are we going to be taken into account for what comes out of our mouths, what our tongues put forth, meaning what we say? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may your it's like may your mother be bereaved of you. Are not people thrown into the hellfire as a result of what their mouths harvest, meaning as a result and a consequence of what they say. So if a person says something, he makes the oath or vow against another, and because he was emotional and or whatever the situation, he still has to fulfill it if it's obedience to Allah. If it's disobedience and he's not allowed to fulfill it, then he has to take kafara. We've got a couple of questions from the sister's side. The first question is, what is the ruling on a maid teaching women without a curtain or a wall? The evidence used is that the maid female Sahaba prayed without a barrier, and that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave a separate khutbah to the women on Eid. Jazakumullahu khairan.
أولا هذا السؤال من النساء وأردنا أن نجيب عليه حتى لا يظن أن متعصبون أو غير عادلين.
The first thing is that this is a question that comes from the women, and obviously you need to answer so it doesn't like we just ignoring everyone.
فسؤالان للرجال وسؤال للنساء. وإن انتهت أسئلة النساء نستمر مع أسئلة الرجال.
Okay, so once we finish with the women's questions, we go back to the men's ones.
الرجال لأن الأسئلة الحمد لله يستفيد منها الرجال والنساء الأجوبة. طيب، نقول لا يجوز للرجل أن يعلم النساء ليس بينه وبينهن حجاب. لا بد إما يتخذ حجاب، أو الآن جاءت هذه الوسائل التكنولوجيا بحيث أنه يتكلم الرجل ويراه النساء ويسمعن منه وهو لا يراهن. وأما من يحتج بأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بخطبة العيد بعد أن خطب الرجال جاء إلى النساء وخطبهن. نقول أولا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان معه بلال ومعه صحابي آخر. والأمر الثاني كان نساء الصحابة متحجبات. الأمر الثالث أن من خصائص النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من خصائصه أنه يجوز أن يخلو بالمرأة أو تخلو به المرأة. هذا من خصائصه. ولذا جاء في الحديث في مسلم أنه كانت تأخذ به المرأة وتخلو به، ويقول انظري أي السكك شئت. امرأة عندها سؤال أو عندها مشكلة يقول انظري أي الطرق تذهبين إليها، فيأتي ويحددها. وهذا من خصائصه صلى الله عليه وسلم. لكن لو أن إنسان احتاج أن يعلم نساء ضرورة ما عنده أحد، ما عنده وسائل، يمكن أن يأتي رجلان ثلاثة يضعون ولو حاجزا بسيطا. وأنا لا أدري لماذا يسأل عن مثل هذا. أنت رجل تريد الإسلام والسنة والستر والحشمة، هيا الله لك هذه الوسائل يا أخي. لماذا تذهب تبحث عن مثل هذه الأشياء؟ تعلم قول الله عز وجل وإذا سألتموهن متاعا فاسألوهن من وراء حجاب. ما يعني لا يجوز هذا، والله أعلم.
The Sheikh he answered by saying that it's not allowed for a man to teach women without there being between them a hijab, some type of veil. He said it's essential that there's a veil between them. As for example, using as evidence that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on khutbah al-Eid, that after he did the khutbah for the men, he went and he did a separate khutbah addressing the women specifically, then the first answer to that is first of all that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was with Bilal. And also the Sahabiyat, they were all fully covered. They were wearing the hijab. Likewise as well, from the things which are specific to the Messenger, there are some ahkam or some rulings which are only permissible for the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and not permissible for anyone else in the ummah. From them is the permissibility of being alone with a woman. And then he mentioned the hadith of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and hadith of So, for example, the hadith that mentioned when a woman had a question that she needed to ask the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he replied by saying, mention whichever area is best, i.e. whatever part of best is to come, and I'll come to you to answer your question there. So that's something which is specific to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sheikh mentioned that today the means of teaching are the technology that we have makes it possible for you to teach women, them to see you like we do now, and you're not even in the same room teaching them. So why would he's asking, why would a person seek out to teach women directly when the option is there to use the technology means to separate and segregate, teach them from behind, for example, a camera where they can still see, they can ask questions like we do now, and you can reply to the question. Then he said, if, for example, there's a need to do so, and there's no other means to do so, and then a person goes with somebody else, for example, with him, a teacher goes and he's got somebody else with him, and there's a curtain between him and the sister or woman, then in that case, it's okay. But again, he said he doesn't understand why someone, a man, who wants to preserve his honor, and he wants to follow the sunnah, and he wants to, have, this honor of a man, why he wants to be asking tough questions, so you can go, for example, and teach them without there being a bell between them, and then he says, Allah Ta'ala. And this is in summary. Again, as well, so just a point of benefit. Everyone benefits from all the questions. So even though not all the questions will be answered, inshallah, everyone will benefit from whatever questions are asked.
Okay, so the question that we have in front of us, it reads, if a husband tells his wife he is taking a second wife and she asks for a divorce, what should he do?
نعم. أول هذا السؤال هل هو للرجال أم للنساء؟ مشترك للجميع. أي نعم. نعم. أقول إذا قال الرجل لزوجته أنا أريد أن أتزوج، هذا لا حرج فيه، لأن الله جل وعلا يقول فانكحوا ما طاب لكم من النساء مثنى وثلاث ورباع. لكن أقول عليه أن يتفاهم مع زوجته بالتي أحسن ولا يهدم بيته. والإنسان وإن كان يجوز له أن يعدل، لكن أيضا ينظر للمصلحة والمفسدة. إذا كان سينهدم البيت يفرق بين الأبناء وأبيهم وأمهم، فإن هذه من المفاسد. يعني الإنسان يراعي مثل هذا. وأنا أنصح الأخت أن لا تتعجل على الطلاق، لا تعجل على الطلاق. الطلاق هدم، الطلاق هدم بيوت، الطلاق شقاء للأطفال. قد تتحمل أنت الرجل، قد تتحمل المرأة الكبيرة، لكن هؤلاء الصبية الصغار ما ذنبهم، تبقى المشكلة معه إلى أن يصير رجل. فأنا أقول يتفاهم الإخوة فيما بينهم، ولا ينبغي لها أن تطلب الطلاق، وعليه هو أيضا أن يتفاهم معها بما يعود على الجميع بالخير. اي وفي سؤال من النساء شروط، ما هي شروط التعدد؟ الشروط التي ذكرها الله عز وجل. لا بد من العدل، تزوج ثانية وثالثة ورابعة فلا بد أن يعدل. والعدل في ثلاثة أشياء: في النفقة والمبيت والكسوة. في النفقة لا بد ينفق على كل واحدة منهن بما يكفيها، لا يشتري لهذه الطعام الذي ب100 باوند، والأخرى التي الكبيرة والتي لا يريد أن يشتري لها ب10 باوند. لا بد من العدل، يكون نوع الطعام واحد. أيضا لا بد من المبيت، يبيت عند هذه ليلة ثم يبيت عند الأخرى ليلة. الشرط الثالث أن يعدل بالكسوة، يشتري لهن لباس مثل بعضه يكون كله جيد في حق الجميع. المهم لا بد من العدل، لا بد من العدل. وأيضا يجد في نفسه قوة وقدرة. أما إذا كان ضعيف سيظلم، يتقي الله في نفسه.
The question was two parts, one part from the men, one part from the women. With regards to if he wants to take a second wife and the wife said she objects or she wants to get divorced, he said first of all he's allowed to take a second wife, and this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran, marry what you wish of women 2, 3 or 4. So it's permissible for him to do that. However, he has to also take into account the harms and the benefits of doing this. So for example, he's not going to destroy his house, ruin his family, split up his kids from his kids, mess up their life for the sake of taking a second wife. He has to look at the overall harms and benefits as well. So what he should do is he should try his best to come to an understanding with her. Really, she shouldn't be asking for divorce anyway, because again, divorce is the worst thing that can happen when there's kids involved. It destroys the family, ruins the house. It's not something which is positive, something which is negative. She should not ask for divorce, and likewise he should look at the harms and the benefits in pursuing and proceeding with taking a second wife. He said that when there's this split, the people that suffer the most are going to be the children. And they're going to grow up thinking, what have they done wrong? And they haven't done anything wrong, but they're going to have that type of, up until they become adults and understand, for example, that these things happen, they're going to, it's not loud enough, or they're going to have that issue. The second part of the question, so in conclusion, he has to do his best to help her to understand, and she shouldn't be asking for divorce. And he has to look at the harms and the benefits in proceeding with it. If it's going to destroy the house, then he needs to really think about it properly. The second question was from the sisters. They're asking, what are the conditions for a husband to take a second wife? The Sheikh, he said that the conditions are those that are mentioned in the Book of Allah, which is that he has to be fair or just between them. He has to be fair in three things. This justice and fairness goes back to three things. The first one is nafaqah, how much he spends on them. The second one is the mubit, i.e. where he spends his nights. And the third one is kiswa, or him clothing, and the clothes that he buys for them. With regards to the first one, then what it means is that he spends equally on them according to what they need. What that means is that, for example, he doesn't, for example, with the second wife or the new wife or the first wife, whichever one, he takes her out and he spends £100, he buys her like the poshest dinner that he can buy. Then it comes to the other wife, the older one or the first wife, then he only spends like £10. He spends £100 on dinner on one, and the other one he spends £10. That's not adl, that's not fair. Also, with regards to the time he spends with them, he has to spend one night with one and one night with the other, or two, however he does it, but it has to be fair, it has to be just. The third one is with regards to clothes, i.e. when he buys them gifts or clothes and stuff like that, he buys them clothes which are the same, that they both accept as being, and they're both pleasing, not that he shops cheap for one and expensive for the other one. The second thing, which is important with regards to conditions of taking a second wife, is that the person himself, he's strong enough to do it, basically. He has the ability and the capacity. He's not a person that's weak. I mean that through his weakness, whether it's emotional weakness or physical weakness, he's going to be aggressive to one of them. If he's weak like that, then he shouldn't take a second wife out, because he's looking for the conditions.
The next question is, what is the easiest way to get reward? ما هي أسهل الطرق في اكتساب الأجر؟
أسهل الطرق هي طريقة واحدة. تنوي بقلبك فقط. تنوي بقلبك. ما تتكلم بلسانك، لكن تنوي بقلبك. لما تريد تفعل شيء، تقف قليلا مع نفسك وتعتقد أنني تقول بنفسك من غير أن تتكلم: أنا أريد بهذا وجه الله. أريد ثواب الله فقط.
Nice short answer. If you want to do something which is good, then the easiest way to do that is to make the intention in your heart to do that action. That's it. You say, so for example, you pause for a minute. No, you don't say anything, you don't have to say anything, but you just pause for a minute and intend to do that good deed without you have to say anything. That's the easiest way to do good deed.
Okay, so the question reads, we read in Arabic and we'll go into English. ما نصيحتكم في طالب العلم الذي يجد ضعف في طلبه ويجد صعوبة في حفظ Barakallahu feek. So the question reads, what advice you can offer to us regarding the person who wishes to be a talib al-ilm, but he finds weakness in going forward and studying, and also he finds صعوبة, difficulty in memorizing.
أقول من وجد صعوبة في طلب العلم فإن هذا شيء طبيعي، هذا جبلي بالبداية، وهذا من صد الشيطان، لكن عليه أن يجتهد وأن يصبر وأن يصابر. قال الله جل وعلا: والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا. ولهذا قال يحيى بن أبي كثير كما في مقدمة صحيح مسلم: لن ينال العلم براحة الجسد. فعليه أن يستعين بالله ويجتهد ويصبر لا ينقطع، وبعد مدة سيجد الفرق الكبير الذي حصل عليه. أما الحفظ أيضا هذا من تسويل الشيطان، بل كل إنسان يحفظ، وملكة الحفظ موجودة عندك، فلا يصدنك هذا. أقبل على العلم وكرر وستجد إن شاء الله الثمرة. هذا كله صد من الشيطان لعله يردك عن العلم، فلا تضعف واستعن بالله والجأ إلى الله بسؤاله وقل ربي زدني علما. والله أعلم.
And the Sheikh Abdullah, he answered and replied, he says, whoever finds difficulty in seeking knowledge, then he said this is something which is everybody has. It's something which is normal. It's not something which is only specific to that person. Everybody has that. However, he has to strive and work hard. He has to put in effort, basically, number one. Also, he has to be patient and consistent. He has to not give up and keep going, doing it. And also as well, he has to make himself, patient with it. And then the Sheikh Abdullah, he mentioned the speech of Allah, the English translation being, and whoever strives in our way, then we will guide him to our paths, guide him to our path. Whoever strives, i.e. they put in effort. So the point is you have to put in effort, you have to be willing to do that. Also as we mentioned, the statement of and he mentioned the statement of Yahya ibn Kathir. We mentioned that knowledge will not be attained by being comfortable, by not exerting effort or putting in the hours of the hard work. So the Sheikh Abdullah said that a person has to seek the help of Allah, he has to put in effort and he has to be patient. He said he shouldn't, for example, and once he does that, we'll find after some time has passed, if he takes account of what he knows now, then based on what he knew before, he'll find that he's attained a lot. He's attained a lot. So as for the second part, which regards to hifz, then likewise the same as the first. Everybody has the capacity to memorize, and every single day everybody memorizes stuff. It's not something which is specific just to one or two people. Everybody can do it. However, again, it takes a person to put in the effort and to put in the time that's needed. And he shouldn't let shaitan, he shouldn't let the devil, or he shouldn't let him turn him away from seeking knowledge, because this is from the plots of shaitan, that he wants to block a person from the path to good, and obviously from that is the path of seeking knowledge. And then he also ended by saying, you should say, oh Allah, increase me knowledge, make the dua, that the message of Allah, Allah commands the message of Allah in the Quran, say, oh my Lord, increase me in knowledge.
And so his question reads, what do you say about those who claim they are from or follow the manhaj of the Salaf, but speak ill of people of knowledge? So in Britain is mentioned that ما في كوفية بعض الناس يقول أنني سلفي لكنه يكثر الكلام في العلماء.
أقول هذا ليس بسلف، السلفي ما يتكلم بالعلماء، السلفي يحب العلماء، يحب العلماء ويدافع عنهم ويعرف لهم قدرهم. فعلى هذا وأمثاله يتقوا الله عز وجل ويمسكوا ألسنتهم عن الكلام في العلماء، ومن أخطأ من العلماء يرد عليه العلماء، يرد عليه العلماء بعد مناصحته، وهم أدرى كيف يتصرفون معه. أما يأتي صغير قد لا يعرف أحكام الوضوء ولا الطهارة ولا بعض مسائل العقيدة فيجعل نفسه وكيلا يسب هذا ويذم هذا ويقدح هذا، هذا لا يجوز، لأن الإنسان ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد، ويترك الرد على المخالف لأهل العلم وأهل البصيرة.
He said that Salaf is a person that loves the ulama. A person on the manhaj of the Salaf is a person that loves the ulama, he defends the ulama, he has respect for the ulama, and he inculcates this in others as well. A person should fear Allah and he should refrain from speaking bad about the ulama, about the scholars. As for if a scholar makes a mistake, then another scholar is the person that corrects him. As for what we find, a person that's young, he doesn't have any knowledge, he doesn't know even the ahkam of wudu, he doesn't know, for example, there's loads of masail, loads of issues in aqidah that he still hasn't mastered, he still doesn't have knowledge of. And then he appoints himself as the safeguard of the religion, for example, who's refuting and speaking bad about the scholars, then without a doubt this person is upon misguidance. And then the Sheikh mentioned the statement of Allah, that a person doesn't say a statement except that there's a watcher taking down and noting everything that they say. So he said that the person has to fear Allah and he has to leave the refutations or the correcting mistakes of the ulama to be done by the other ulama and concentrate on what benefits them.
قرأت الحديث إذا بايعتم بالإينة إلى آخر الحديث، ووجدت جملة في الحديث وتركتم الجهاد في سبيل الله. الجهاد هنا يدل على كل أنواع الجهاد أم الجهاد القتال فقط. So the question he asked that you read the hadith that you made بايعتم بالإينة, and that you read the hadith and he mentioned, after part of the hadith, he mentioned that you left away jihad fi sabilillah, that you left away jihad fi sabilillah. This jihad that is being mentioned here, does it include all forms of jihad, or is it restricted to jihad al-qital, the jihad of fighting?
المراد به جهاد القتال اللي هو جهاد الطلب، يسميه العلماء جهاد الطلب، هو الخروج للجهاد في سبيل الله حينما تتوفر شروطه من وجود الإمام والشوكة والقوة، والمراد أن الناس يرغبون في الدنيا، فبايعتم بالعينة وأخذتم بأذناب البقر، يعني الناس لا همة لهم، لا يريدون الدنيا، يريدون العمل في الدنيا فقط. وإذا قيل له الجهاد في سبيل الله وهو قائم بشروطه قال لا ما أريده، يأتيني الموت. هذا المراد به جهاد القتال الذي هو جهاد الطلب للعدو، لأنه الحديث يدل عليه، أخذتم بالدنيا وتركتم الجهاد في سبيل الله، هذا هو المراد. لكن الآن ما في جهاد، ما في إمام قائم يجاهد حوله، فجاهد نفسك بالعلم والعمل، بالعلم الشرعي والعمل ودعوة الناس إلى الخير.
With regards to the question that you had answered, the Sheikh al-Ali said that what's intended here with regards to the word jihad is the jihad of talab, which is going out and fighting the enemy. So it's the jihad of talab or jihad al-qital that's meant by this hadith. And this is when the conditions for jihad being an obligation are there, such as, for example, there being the ability to do it, and there being the eemaan that you're going to fight behind, and the other conditions which I mentioned. In general, the hadith, it points to the fact that people are going to be immersed in the dunya. That the only thing that they're going to be concerned about is money and wealth and dunya. And the things, and they're not going to, that's all that's going to concern them. As is mentioned at the beginning of the hadith, when you hold them to the tails of cows, meaning that all they're thinking about is money and wealth. So when, for example, someone says it's time for jihad, go, they say no, I'm not going to go because I'm going to die, and I only want to concentrate on my money and my wealth and my dunya. That's what's meant by the hadith, generally speaking. He says, as for now, then there's no jihad which is established behind the imam or the like. He said, so a person, he strives against himself by seeking knowledge, by doing good action, and calling other people to that.
As you can see, we have many questions, and yes, if we have the time, we'll try to answer all. But due to restriction in time, that only can take some of the question. So at this moment, we should be stopping, and we will stop at the last question, and we'll try to see of the ask most of these questions in the other nights to come. So for tonight, that we'll just try to do as much as we can, and we'll now place this is the last question, and inshallah tomorrow and other times we'll get the opportunity to ask the rest. So after the question, the last question mentioned, what is the cure for evil eye, jinn possession, sihr, and can a person continually to sin prevent the shifa from coming down? Please advise. So the question we made is ما هو العلاج للسحر والعين ومن يستمر على الذنوب يمنع الاستمرار على الذنوب يمنع من الشفاء.
أقول هذا السؤال الحقيقة مهم جدا، لكن يحتاج إلى جواب طويل، لكن مع ذلك سأختصر الكلام إن شاء الله لأنها مشكلة موجودة في الناس. أبدأ بعلاج السحر. علاج السحر له طريقتان. الأولى استخراجه وإبطاله، استخراج السحر وإبطاله، وهذا يكون بالتحري والبحث، لأنه غالبا إذا كان مسحور في مكان يكره أن يأتي هذا المكان، يكره أن يأتي هذا البيت. إذا كان في البيت يكره هذه الغرفة، يتضايق. هذه كلها علامات تدل على أن السحر قريب. يفتش، يبحث كثيرا، فإذا وجده يبطله، يحله ويبطله. ثم أيضا يكون بالقراءة على الممسوس المسحور، فإذا تكلم الجن الذي معه يضيق عليه ويشدد، يسأل أين مكان السحر حتى يدل عليه. ويكون باللجوء إلى الله بالدعاء، يدعو في السحر بين الأذان والإقامة ساعة الجمعة، لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سحر كما في الصحيحين، فقام ليلة فدعا ودعا ودعا، فلما نام أتاه ملكان، أحدهما عند رأسه والآخر عند رجليه، فقال أحدهم الآخر: ما بال الرجل؟ ما مشكلته؟ قال: مطبوب. ومعنى مقلوب يعني مسحور. إلى آخر الحديث. لكن محل الشاهد أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دعا طويلا فلما نام رأى رؤيا. وقد مر معي أناس كثير بعضهم عنده نقص في الاستقامة ومع ذلك رأوا رؤيا وعرفوا مكان السحر. فالجأ إلى الله بالدعاء أن يدلك على السحر وأن يشفيك منه. هذه الطريقة الأولى.
The question the Sheikh Abdullah said is an important question and it requires an answer which is long. But due to the fact that it's it's something which is widespread, then he's going to answer it in some way the best he can. Number one, he said, is that to cure sihr, which is magic, there's two ways. The first way is to find where it is, to remove it and to ruin it basically. The actual spell which is done wherever it is. He said then it takes a person to do research and to look basically for it. And he said that he says in most cases, the place where the sihr is, the magic is, the person that's mashoor, if they come close to it, they won't want to go towards that place. So for example, if it's in a particular room, they'll find they dislike being in that room, they find it uncomfortable in that room and stuff like that, then it's usually, the sihr will be in that place, and then someone has to look and they have to find it. Once they find it, then once they find it, then يبتلوه.
يحله إن كان عقد يحلها.
Basically, if it's a knot or something like that, then they unknot it and untie it.
وإذا ما استطاع يحلها يقطعها بالمقص.
And if they're unable to unknot it, then they just cut it with a scissors. They cut the knot with the scissors, so it's no longer knotted. And then he said that also the person. The second way of nullifying the sihr, or to undo the magic, is a person having ruqyah done, i.e. reciting upon them. And if, for example, the jinn speaks and says, then if the jinn speaks and starts talking, then a person becomes harsh with it and forces the jinn to mention the place where the sihr is. Once the jinn mentions the place where the sihr is, go back to stage one, you find it and you undo the knot, or you undo it. Another way is to make a lot of dua, whether it's either between the adhan and the iqamah. The times when when it's mentioned in the hadith that the dua is answered, like between the adhan and the iqamah, like for example the hour on Yawm al-Jum'ah, like for example in the early hours of the morning when everybody's sleeping. This is a way where another thing that a person does, and as is known, sihr was done to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he spent the entire night, or he spent most of the night in dua, turning to Allah and asking and making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he fell asleep, when he fell asleep, then in his sleep, two angels came to him, one at his head and one at his feet. I said, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with him? And then what the angel replied, that sihr has been done to him, and the rest of the hadith. But the point of mentioning the hadith is that the Messenger of Allah spent all night, or most of the night, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show him to cure him, to show him what the sihr was, and it came in the dream. And then the Sheikh Abdullah, he said that this has happened as well, where people have come to him. They've said, for example, that they find it difficult to practice the deen, they find it difficult to pray, and all these other things. And the Sheikh told them to go make a lot of dua. When they made loads and loads of dua, they found that it was shown to them, or it was where the sihr was, and they were able to undo it in this way. So this is one of the ways that a person, this is the first way that a person gets rid of the sihr.
الطريقة الثانية طريقة حله عن طريق ما يسمى بالنشرة أو قراءة الأذكار، قراءة شيء من القرآن. ويمكن النوع السابق الذي ذكرنا الدعاء يضاف إلى هذا. وقد ذكر وهب بن منبه وليث بن أبي سليم ونقله الشيخ عبد العزيز بن باز عنهم، وأنا ذكرته في كتاب موجود على النت اسمه تبصير البشر بتحريم السحر. الكتاب موجود، يمكن تدخل عليه وتجدوه. وهو أن يأتي ب7 ورقات، يأتي ب7 ورقات من سدر أخضر، إن وجد سدرا أخضر، أو حتى لو كان سدرا يابسا، وإذا لم يجد سدرا ليس هناك مشكلة، لكن وجد سدر 7 ورقات يضعها في إناء، يدقها ثم يضعها في الإناء، ثم يصب عليه ماء يكفي للاغتسال، ثم يقرأ آية الكرسي، الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم، الآية 255 من سورة البقرة، ثم يقرأ قل يا أيها الكافرون، ثم يقرأ المعوذات ال3، قل هو الله أحد، قل أعوذ برب الفلق، قل أعوذ برب الناس 3 مرات، ثم ينفث في الماء، ثم يقرأ الآيات التي ورد فيها ذكر السحر في سورة الأعراف من الآية 117 إلى الآية 119، ثم يقرأ الآيات التي ورد فيها ذكر السحر من سورة يونس من الآية 79 إلى الآية 82، ثم يقرأ الآيات التي ورد فيها ذكر السحر في سورة طه من الآية 65 إلى 69، ثم يشرب من هذا الماء 3 مرات أو أقل أو أكثر، ثم يغتسل به، فإن شفاه الله من المرة الأولى، وإلا يكرر مرة ثانية وثالثة. وعلى العموم لو أنه لجأ إلى الله بقراءة القرآن، وخاصة سورة البقرة التي قال فيها النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سورة البقرة أخذها بركة وتركها حسرة، ولا يستطيعها البطلة. البطلة هم السحرة. فيقرأ من القرآن ما شاء، وكلما زاد قراءة كلما كان تأثير ذلك أقوى. يقرأ في الماء، يشرب، يقرأ في زيت الزيتون يدهن فيه، يقرأ في العسل يأكل منه، هذا كله جائز. وأنا بينت الأدلة على هذا في رسالة لي اسمها الاستشفاء بالقرآن. هذا باختصار.
The second method the Sheikh al-Ali mentioned is to get rid of the sihr, to undo the magic by reciting Quran. And perhaps dua that was mentioned first can be underneath this category. Then he mentioned the athar of Wahb ibn Munabbih, Layth ibn Abi Sulaym, and that Ibn Baz he mentioned it as well, and that the Sheikh Abdullah he mentions it in his book that he's got, which is available on the internet. You can download it as a PDF for Tafsir al-Bashar, enlightening people on the impermissibility of sihr, of magic. He mentions that in there he mentions that you take 7 leaves of the cedar plant when it's green, or even if it's dry. And if you can't find cedar, then it doesn't matter. Then you crush it, or you make it like in powdery, and you put it in water which is sufficient to make ghusl with. Enough water which is sufficient for you to make ghusl with. And then you recite over that Ayat al-Kursi, number 1. Then the Surah al-Kafirun, and the Ma'awwidhatan 3 times. 3 مرات. معوذات كمان. Which is قل هو الله أحد, قل أعوذ برب الفلق, قل أعوذ برب الناس. These 3 you recite 3 times. Then you blow in the water. Then you recite Surah Al-A'raf, the ayat that mention sihr in it, which is ayat number 117 to 119. And then after that you recite from Surah Yunus, ayat number 79 to 98. And then from Surah Taha, ayat number 65 to 69. And then all these ayat, they mention in it sihr, or they mention sihr in it. You recite those ayat, then you drink 3 times, like drink 3 gulps or so from it, or less, and then after that you make ghusl with the rest of the water. You do this as many, and if you're cured the first time, then alhamdulillah, that's good. If you're not cured the first time, you still find the effects of sihr, then you repeat it a 2nd time, or you repeat it a 3rd time. Also as well, the Sheikh has said that from the most, in generally speaking, from the most beneficial things is that a person returns back to Allah by reciting the Quran, especially Surah Al-Baqarah. Because the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said about this surah in a hadith, al-hadith Sheikh, Surah Al-Baqarah, he's saying that taking it is a barakah, is a blessing, and to leave it, i.e. by not reciting it, is like a hasra, which is the opposite of a blessing, a misguidance or a no. And the magicians or the people of magic, or they're unable to come close to it, meaning it's a protection from sihr, it's a protection from magic. And in addition to that, a person reads however much he can or whatever he can of the Quran, generally speaking. The more he recites, then the stronger the effect will be against the sihr. The more he recites of the Quran, the weaker the sihr will become that he's affected with. He said that also as well, he can recite over water and drink it, or if he wants, he can recite over zaytun, which is olive oil, and rub it on him, or he can recite, if he wants, over honey and eat it. All of that's permissible, that the Sheikh he mentioned and showed the evidence for all of that in the book that he's authored, which is also available on the internet. I'm sure it's not translated, but perhaps someone will translate it, inshallah, where it's called al-istishfa bil-Quran, seeking a cure with the Quran.
وأنبه على مسألة أنك الذي فيه سحر إذا جاء يقرأ القرآن سيجد صدا يمنعه ما يريد يقرأ، يجد خوفا أو يجد ضيق النفس أو يجد التعب. إذا وجدت هذا لا تتوقف، هذا دليل أن معك مشكلة. الشيطان لا يريد أن تقرأ حتى لا تشفى. فجاهد جاهد جاهد ولا تستسلم، وأبشر بالعافية والشفاء من الله سبحانه وتعالى.
And he said there's a point where he needs to highlight, which is that if you begin to read Quran and you find, for example, something's trying to stop you recite Quran or prevent you from reading Quran, then this is an indication. Or you find, for example, it's difficult to breathe, you find you becoming tired and lethargic when you're reciting Quran. He said, then this is an indication that you have to continue, because shaitan is trying to stop you. So you have to persist and you have to force yourself, you have to continue reading, even though it might be difficult, because this is an indication that you're going to become better through reciting Quran, and by leaving it off, you're not going to become better.
أما علاج العين مرة ثانية إن شاء الله.
Bismillah. So with this we'll now come to a break regarding this particular session, which I consider is very beneficial. There's many questions, but unfortunately we are unable to answer all. But in the other sessions, then hopefully we can cover as many as possible. So what we'll do now, seeing that it's now 7:30, the time for Salat, what we do, because we'll call the Adhan, and then 10 minutes after we'll pray. So can someone move around those who needs to prepare themselves for Salat, then they have that little space or that time to do so, inshallah. So after 10 minutes,